How you doing, guys? We back again with Hyperwave Gaming. This is Sin City Quinn, and today we're coming to talk about the new Fallout 76 videos that have dropped and kind of give our take on it.
Yeah, so I think some embargo must have lifted over the weekend where it seems like Bethesda invited a lot of the big gaming publishers to come out and try Fallout 76 before the beta, which is on the 23rd of October, I believe. So they were able to go. It seems like they were able to play from 30 minutes to almost an hour from some of the stuff we were reading. And I guess it's our first time that we actually are seeing content out on Fallout 76 that isn't from Bethesda itself. It isn't internal stuff. It isn't marketing. This is the first time that we're seeing actual gameplay by, in this case, reporters and probably a couple influencers, if I had to guess. So it's the first time. For the people who don't know, Fallout 76 is the first Fallout game that's essentially 100% multiplayer. A lot of that was actually confirmed during these gameplays. It's set in West Virginia this time. It's the earliest, which I thought was interesting. It's the earliest Fallout game within the Fallout timeline of events. So this is like the newest one. It's in West Virginia. Like we said, it was full online multiplayer. So there's actually something, maybe we can get started out with that in particular. You've played Fallout before, right?
Yeah, I played all of them.
Okay, so I've only played 4, and I really enjoyed it. And one of the big changes, I guess, that they found out is that there aren't any real NPCs in the game. It seems like we'll talk a little bit more about the story, but it seems like all the story elements and the quests and everything that are in the game are all given to you via like radios,
and then the notes they got
the notes and the past recordings and everything like that, which I find is odd because it feels like the best part of Fallout were always the NPCs. Exactly. Those sort of like how you interacted with them. But I think like before we get even like too far into this, I think the most important thing, even like Bethesda seems to kind of be pitching it this way, that this is not a Fallout game that we are used to. It seems like it's more like this is an online multiplayer game with a Fallout skin, which that's the thing that kind of worries me too, because like
a lot of people, because it's like what's that one game? It's kind of like the same exact thing as the other shit that people were talking about.
Well, I know Bethesda did Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
So they did the online portion of it, and they put in like Elder Scrolls, and I guess that works. Like that's one of the weird Bethesda games that I always forget exists. I'm a big fan of Bethesda, but I always forget like apparently that has a huge community behind it.
Yeah, Skyrim and Elder Scrolls. That's.
Well, I know Skyrim and Elder Scrolls does, but like their online version of the game.
Oh.
Apparently, that in and of itself has a huge community. Which is interesting because I've never played it. I don't know. I have a couple of friends who love the Elder Scrolls series, and I don't believe, have played it at all, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what's weird about this one is just like the skinning, and even some of the big things that are kind of key to the Fallout franchise, like the VAT system. Apparently, that isn't slowed down anymore. Obviously, that's very hard to do with when you're having multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I guess it's sort of like you're getting to pick where you shoot, but you aren't slowing down. So that's
it. It's just gonna be totally different. And it got like you're saying, it's so much that's changed about it. Like the only thing that's similar is the story, I guess, or the setting, and then obviously the skins. But I'm interested to see if it's actually a Fallout game, because like Fallout, we played Fallout for a very specific reason.
Right.
It was one of those one-player games, single-player games where you could have your own custom experience. And that's not really possible with multiplayer.
No, and it seems like from some of these early reviews I was reading that even some of the people who have played it are struggling with who controls the story, essentially. Because obviously when you play the single-player version of Fallout, like Fallout 4 or any of the others, you're the one kind of deciding the story elements, and you're just...
pacing and all that.
Yeah, you're deciding all that. But in this, it seems more like... It's actually very confusing. I still don't fully understand it because there's a part of the game that you can play without interacting with other people. So there would be no like interaction with other people being like fighting with them, essentially.
No griefing and stuff.
Yeah, no griefing or anything like that. I did think it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if any other... I'm not a big online multiplayer fan, especially like some of these mass online multiplayer games. But one of the things I found interesting, at least for myself, is that they are doing like if you go around start shooting people and killing them like for no real reason and you just start going on like a rampage like a lot of these MMOs kind of some of the players on them will do. They actually put a bounty on your head that shows up on the map, which I think like maybe Grand Theft Auto Online did.
Yeah, they started doing that because some of those like little 13-year-olds.
Exactly.
And that's honestly what made me not play GTA Online.
Like, 100%. Like that, I bought GTA when it came out on I think the previous consoles, and then
PS3,
and then it got re-released. And like I never played it because of the reason that you're talking about, where it's just like I don't want to kind of deal with these little 13-year-olds and these people who kind of like ruin the experience to an extent. It seems like Bethesda knows this going into it, and maybe they learned a lot actually from Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, you know, we're sitting here not knowing anything about it, but maybe behind the scenes they've learned a lot from that whole series.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like they are doing certain steps to make it a little bit more friendly. They have different like areas for different things. The one thing that I still find the most interesting, and I know it's like one of the big selling points for this Fallout 76 and it being online, is like this whole idea of the nukes.
Yeah,
and they opened up a little bit more about this in some of the gameplay that they talked about in the interviews this week, which was that the nukes, when they go off, they create special resources and more intense monsters. But it seems like they can also be the area gets irradiated, and that's where you get all the special resources and the new monsters. But you can also close that radiation area down by like kind of healing it to an extent, like stopping nuclear fissures and a couple other things, I think.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting, but it's also one of those things where it seems like the story that we're used to, where we're trying to embark on a story, it has been like dumbed down a lot to just be the get to the nukes and like create more resources essentially.
What happens after that? Like,
yeah, and another thing is like they said that this map in particular is 4 times as large as the Fallout 4 map. Which makes sense because they need that extra map space for all the multiplayer, because this is supposed to be like a lot of people on at the exact same time in the same map. But it's a sort of like, what are you going to do with all that space?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's unfortunate. I probably won't buy the game unless like it comes out and it's like amazing and I'm missing something. But I feel like if it's this huge map and like it's only online multiplayer, I feel like it cuts out a lot of your customer base who don't want to do that.
Exactly.
And are missing out on like what might be one of the best Fallout experiences.
Because it looks incredible. Like
it does, and I think it's using a different engine than the one that they used for Fallout 4. The graphics do look a lot better.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, that's always one of the things. Like unfortunately, I don't think I ever finished Fallout 4, and I always wanted to go back and finish it. But like the lighting in Fallout 4 is not that great. There are certain parts that are not fun in that. But it seems like they fixed a lot of that now in Fallout 76.
But the thing that I'm worried about the most is because I'm going to get it, but I'm worried about, obviously, the griefing and stuff like that and just having to pay all that money for a game and have it be ruined by 13-year-olds. But also, I play other online games like NBA 2K, and the server issue. We all know Bethesda is notorious for its glitches.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, you're right.
It's like, how are you going to make all of that stuff work? And just even in some of the videos that I've seen of it so far is they've had those glitches where the whole ground is shaking and the pictures are spinning, and it's a lot of weird stuff going on. And
I also find it odd that I feel like their beta is like too close to release date almost. Their beta is on the 23rd of October. I believe the release date's on November 14th. So that's a little bit less than a month to kind of fix everything. So I don't know if you watched. There's actually a documentary out there from NoClip who talked to.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so they actually have been working on this for a while. So maybe these bugs have been worked out. Well, they haven't been in previous Bethesda games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But on the topic of the griefing too, like I guess you get to build your own camps and manage your own resources and everything like that. Apparently, when you're offline, those can't be destroyed by, I assume, like the nukes and such, which is great. That will probably help with some of the griefing. I think they built in a couple other like spawn protection areas for people. And like I said, you can always go. I guess there's a way to not be able to fight with anyone and do it just interact with the other people in the other online players in the world. It just is such an odd. I mean, I feel like we're kind of like repeating history a little bit with like Elder Scrolls Online, but this time I feel like a lot of people are invested in Fallout.
Yeah.
And it seems such an odd kind of sell. It's also like it's a $60 game out of the right away. But if you're going to play it on Sony and Xbox, you're going to have to pay, I'm assuming, their monthly fees, right, for Xbox Gold and
Yeah.
PlayStation Now,
Yeah.
because it's an online-only game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're essentially paying, what, like $60, and if you don't have that service, like, I don't have, like, Gold or Now. So I'm looking at, like, what, almost, like, $90 or something, probably,
Yeah.
to play this
$60.
game.
I know on PlayStation it's $60 for a year.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
But
it was
then
only 30.
It's $10 every month or something like that.
Okay,
If you
so
want to pay it.
so I'm looking at like a lot to pay to essentially play this game.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what's going to come down to
Yeah.
is
Yeah, that's
if
true.
if people are willing enough to spend $60 A for an online only game,
Mm-hmm.
and then B, for the services with Xbox, which maybe a lot of people haven't. Maybe I'm an outlier on that and not having that. But I feel like that's a hard
is.
sell for
And
some people.
Yeah, it is, because I don't think they thought that through though, because Fallout is, like I said, a single player experience. So a lot of the people that play Fallout, they don't even require having like the online stuff. Like they don't
Right.
need it. They don't want it. So then you got to go get the game. Then you got to go pay every month to get the subscription. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a lot, and I feel like this is one of those games where I could see them pulling a Fortnite and launching the game at $60 a couple months in, cutting it to 40, and then eventually finding a way, maybe through battle royale mode or something,
To make it
and
free.
to make it free to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will. I don't believe. Let me actually look that up. I'm not sure if Elder Scrolls Online is actually free to play. I thought a couple years ago they made it free to play. Which, if they did, maybe that's a good indicator that Bethesda will at least admit when something isn't working out in their
Yeah.
favor, and they'll make it free to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such an odd thing where this game is so single player focused, and it just, I feel like there's also, even looking at like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online, that whole universe that Skyrim lives in, and all the other previous games, lends itself a little bit more to online multiplayer, maybe,
yeah.
as opposed to Fallout, where it is such a each
Story.
one is a story focused on a single person and like that person's story. In 4 we had
Wanderer,
we had the kid and the wife and everything like that. I just don't know how that's actually going to transition into an online multiplayer game that is compelling enough for someone to pay, and to keep paying and to keep investing in it.
When they came out, they were afraid of that exact thing right there, because you can tell that they kind of switched up the selling of it, because they had this idea when Fallout 4 came out, but they switched it up at the last
Right.
minute and said, okay, well, no, we're not going to offer a multiplayer right now.
Right.
But people were afraid that it was going to be just a Rust clone that was just a Fallout version of Rust or whatever. And then they came out and said, oh, well, you can definitely play it by yourself. But it's like, well, yeah, but does that take away from the experience of the game?
Right.
Like, do you have to, in order to enjoy the game, do you have to have other people playing with you, or have another team in? Because technically NBA 2K 19 and 18 or whatever, the 2K series, you can technically play the game without buying VC, but if you don't, it greatly affects the enjoyment of the game.
Right. And I just looked up Elder Scrolls Online. It seems like it's like $15 a month, possibly, and they've cut it down a lot.
So it's a subscription based thing.
For that, Elder Scrolls Online might only be PC and Mac. It might be a computer only thing.
I know they have Morrowind or something like that. on
Right.
PlayStation.
I think that's a single player one.
Is it?
Or is Morrowind the new one? I've tried to play Skyrim like 5 times and I cannot get through the first half hour. I'm talking out my ass on this, but like,
Yeah.
I think Morrowind's either the new one or something.
I know they had one, and my little brother was playing it, and he was like, "Nah, actually, it's not that. It's not what I thought it was going to be."
And that's the one thing that, I mean, I guess this isn't too much of a concern, because Bethesda's already kind of proven this wrong, where they made Skyrim, they made it for every platform possible on every console. Then they made Elder Scrolls Online, and now they're going back to Skyrim and doing another, Elder Scrolls single player game, apparently. But I am a little bit worried with like this Fallout, where it's just like, why couldn't we just get a single player game?
Yeah.
Like, unless Bethesda has some, marketing information that we as the fans of Fallout, don't understand where people are asking for this.
Which I don't think anybody really
I don't think anyone is. I'm also very worried that they did a lot of this because of Fortnite and like
Yeah.
the rise of this like massive online multiplayer stuff.
They're trying to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and it's like that will definitely prove true if like in a month or so we see a battle royale mode pop up on Fallout 76, which maybe it'll be fun and maybe it'll be cool, but I don't know who was asking for this. The one thing that like I feel would be maybe interesting as an online multiplayer would be like a Doom game.
Yeah.
I love Doom. It does have like online competitive, like like a matchmaking kind of stuff. But I feel like maybe an online community kind of thing of Doom would be cool as everyone's like hunting around. Like that would, I feel like, makes sense for Doom. You're not invested in the story of Doom, obviously. I'm not sure if you ever played Doom, but it's just kind of this dumb shooter.
Yeah, you're just shooting, yeah.
Right, and that makes sense. You could set it in like this post-apocalyptical like New York or LA and make it all online and have them fighting the demons and have this kind of story, and that would work really well. But this Fallout and just like setting it, like even the setting itself, I've been to West Virginia before. It's not the most exciting place, but the Fallout 76, how they're talking about the setting and everything, that sounds really, really cool. And how big the map is, sounds amazing.
Then they went into the lore with the Mothman on. So I wish they would have just waited another year or something and gave us the story mode.
And that's the one thing that I am concerned about. Like obviously Bethesda is a large company, but it isn't. I wouldn't put it on the same caliber as like EA. No. I know Bethesda, I think, is owned by id Software, which is a larger company, but from that documentary that we watched, from No Clip and some other information that I read, Bethesda is not a big development studio. And what I'm more worried about is like maybe they couldn't give us a full Fallout 76, single player one right now because they are working on the new Skyrim, and that's supposed to be so huge and so groundbreaking. Where maybe like if we were to honestly have to wait, we'd have to wait a very, very long time for another Fallout.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be another 5 or 6 years. That's why I was kind of excited when I heard about it. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get another taste of Fallout, because I was still playing Fallout 4 up until the time when they released it. It was just, it's just one of those games where you could just spend hours and hours and hours playing it, and that is what scares me the most about Fallout 76. Is at what point will it get boring?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, are they gonna like do a whole? The one thing that I still don't understand, even from this footage that was kind of taking all the stories, is what's the story, or is there one, or is there just like random quests that kind of talk about? Is the story getting all the 4 nukes? Is that really what we're all go towards? Because I feel like if that's the case, it's gonna get repetitive. Like there's only so much you can add over time to make that not competitive before it just like it will naturally become competitive. Or repetitive, I mean. And if that's the case, it just is like, it does a disservice to something like Fallout 4 that is so story driven and so focused on story and characters.
And another thing too is with the mods. The mods are a big reason why Fallout 4 and New Vegas and all those games
Bethesda
still exist.
games. I mean, the whole reason why Skyrim has lived so long is because of the mod community and that they kept it alive on PC. And Bethesda essentially was like, okay, we'll make it for PS4 and Xbox One, and we'll kind of we'll do everything we can with Skyrim. Obviously, it has a big user base as well, so that helps it. But yeah, the mods. I mean, obviously, I don't see how they're gonna do mods for an online multiplayer game.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? Like I just don't see how that works. But without the mods and without this and that, it's definitely gonna be a very different game, which makes me think maybe they're trying for a different audience. Maybe they are trying to pull in those kind of tween kids playing Fallout or playing Fortnite right now. They're trying to maybe give them like more of an adult thing and just make it more interesting. And maybe they aren't worrying too much about the single player fans of Fallout because they know they have something down the road. I mean, if they've been playing this for as long as they obviously have Fallout 5 or whatever is the next one already lined up. So maybe that's their plan, and maybe we're, obviously we won't know that until 5 years down the road, like you were saying at some random E3 when they bring it up at very sudden times. But yeah, it's interesting of what they're trying to do here, and it's good that they're taking the chance with it, and it'd be awesome if it pays off, and like maybe this is like some big thing that we don't even understand fully. I would love that. I would love if that would happen. Me too. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like if they were to do something like that, where it was something new, they could kick up the excitement for it and make it worthwhile. But if this is just going to be another online multiplayer game that is just a clone of something else with like a Fallout skin, I don't think the fans are going to be that interested in it. Jesus.
I never know how you do this part. Like, is it shake the controller?
I just shake the joystick, I think.
Because I do that and it doesn't work.
I never understood the Tomb Raider like quick time events.
Some of the shit in this game is fucking annoying. Like how you gotta press. How you
oh wow, they jump you right in. Jesus.
How you have to press square. See, I'm doing it right now and it kills me still, so I don't.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Like you have to hold square when you're falling instead of pressing.
Oh,
like,
really?
So
Yeah.
fucking dumb.
Jesus. It's cool that they put Jaguars in here, but it's kind of sad that you can't. Oh, there you go.
Come on. There you go.
Man, I mean, we're playing a very random game for what we're talking about, but this is Tomb Raider is such a cool looking game.
It is, and you come back later and you finish this other one off right here for whatever reason it doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
But because it had like the perfect opportunity to do it, but it didn't do it.
This is another. I mean, Tomb Raider is another one of those games where I feel like they obviously strayed similar to like other franchises where they got away from their single player roots and this and that. But I feel like especially with these last three, even though the previous two and the new reboot are kind of the same, they definitely got back to the roots of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Square Enix and the people developing Tomb Raider aren't trying to do an online multiplayer
And that's
version.
what I was just thinking about too. Because how would you make it? You couldn't do. Because this game is like historically a single player game. If you did a multiplayer with Tomb Raider, you would have to do it a certain way, kind of like how Uncharted did their multiplayer. That's not what Fallout is doing though.
No,
Fallout is like doing something completely.
It's also I'm still a little bit unclear. Are you know, in each Fallout we play as a single person, but like we're playing as that single person. Is this one we're all ourselves essentially as avatars?
Yeah.
Like, are we playing? And that's another. That gets back to the thing is like, is there really a full set down story that's in concrete and we have to play along?
I'm sure it's like a whole bunch of like the side missions, side stories that were in Fallout 4.
Yeah, and that's what I'm figuring too. But it's also one of those things where they're like, you know, you wake up from your vault and it's like, it'd be really cool if like we all came out of the vault at one go, you know. And we all had to compete against each other or something. Yeah. That might be cool.
Yeah.
As I'm saying that, I probably can see them turning that into the battle royale mode. Is that the two vaults open or some bullshit? One vault opens and you have to go
meet in the middle and you got to get this capture the flag type thing.
Yeah, which you know what that's cool, but I'm not sure if that needed its own video game.
Yeah, it did.
Like that could have been a Fallout 4 DLC.
Yeah.
But you know.
So and then that's what we were all worried about, like because. I mean, if you want to play Rust, you can go play Rust. And one of the things too is if you die and all of the junk that you get in Fallout, everybody gets so much junk.
Apparently, that isn't getting lost.
It's not because the guy that was just playing it was saying if you die, you lose your junk.
Okay, I think I might have misread that then because the way I read it was that you keep your stuff and that there aren't many downsides to you dying. So I might have actually read my side of it wrong because I didn't see how that was going to be a thing. But if it is a thing and you do lose your stuff like Rust and like the other survival games, they've also alluded that this game is very similar to some of the other survival games, the popular ones out there. So, yeah, it's so weird because you do pick up a lot of stuff and you just kind of lose that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I find super bizarre is that they kept the crafting portion of all this still in there. I don't know about you. I didn't do any of the crafting in Fallout 4 other than for, I think, that one mission.
Weapons.
Yeah.
I did the weapons and stuff.
Yeah, I never really wrapped my head around it. Maybe that's just myself, but I feel like adding crafting to this is very odd.
They said they improved it, so I'm interested to see how they're going to improve the base building and because that's something too. Like you're building a base, and then all of a sudden when you leave, you can pack it up into this box. Like
yeah,
I feel like that's very like stuck in.
Yeah, it feels like it's like, oh well, we want to do building stuff, but we can't do that in this world, so we'll just do this magical box thing or something. I mean, they'll probably do some vault tech bullshit that was found in a vault or something that was miniaturization or something. But
they were saying like people were saying that they would sacrifice their their players, their characters, to take the role of the NPCs. So if they would have a market and they would just stand there and do. But that's another thing too. Like there's not going to be any voiceover, so.
It seems like it's going to be very, very little. It's only going to be the recordings that lead you on your quests. That seems to be the main voice recording, which is going to sound, I feel like it's going to be very odd.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be something very difficult for people to adjust to. And that's, once you rack up all of those other things, having to buy the game, then you got to play online for it, and you're normally a single player game player,
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of multiplayer people who like Fallout and multiplayer games. They're excited for it, but at the same time, it's like, is it going to be what you think it is?
Yeah. And is it going to be unique enough to get them off of whatever multiplayer game they are currently playing?
Yeah.
You know, if they are not diehard Fallout fans, that's not enough to pull them over. Like, the name isn't enough. You're going to need something interesting. And maybe it's that nuke system.
Yeah.
I can't think of another multiplayer game that has something similar to that. So that might be it. But it is going to be one of those. I feel like it's going to be a hard sell for Bethesda. Especially with stuff like even Destiny, of how much they fixed Destiny and how popular it is. And how far that game has come since it first came out. I feel like Bethesda's really going to be, struggling a little bit, I would imagine.
I would be more on board if they did a Destiny type thing with Fallout, where they had this story that you can play with other people and you can involve other people into it. But then you can go into like the PvE area or the PvP area or whatever, and then they had the little trial missions or something like that.
It seems like they're gonna have the weekly missions. I read that they actually alluded directly to Destiny, saying that it's very, very similar to Destiny. There'll be weekly events, there'll be special areas as special things are going on. That's very interesting. I haven't played Destiny 2. I've watched Purple Rain play it a lot. I find that really interesting. I obviously can't get into Destiny myself. I enjoy watching it, but I would hate playing it.
Yeah.
So if it's in Fallout, though, maybe I would enjoy those weekly things, and maybe that's something to keep me coming back, because that's essentially what they have to do as the publisher making money. Is like, they have to, just like Bungie, they have to keep bringing people back every week. That's why we get those new trials every week and all that kind of stuff. So they're probably going to do something similar to that if it's interesting or unique enough to capture people. I honestly feel like it's going to be a hard sell for Bethesda to do that.
And with that said, too, I feel like microtransactions are on the way, too. Like, if they're going to be doing those weekly things, there's going to be...
Yeah.
And Bethesda, in the past, they've seemed to understand the way to do it, like, being a respectful way, not
Have
being
they had
greedy.
microtransactions before?
They've had them in Fallout 4, because it was certain things like that the modding community made or whatever like that they brought over to like the Bethesda store and on the PlayStation and Xbox.
Right.
So certain guns, they came in and they made specific missions for it. It weren't too crazy. It was just you got to shoot all these people and go to these places and get these guns. It was like a typical mini quest.
Right.
But with that being said, if they're going to be dropping weekly stuff, they're probably going to do stuff where you can get special skins or something like that. I don't think they're going to do the pay-for-play stuff. I hope they are pay-to-win stuff.
No.
That's not their style.
That would really shock me if they actually did that.
And I think that would really put off people even more.
Oh, yeah. I think you'd lose a very large portion of their own built-in fan base that they're trying to sell to. One of the last things I definitely want to talk about are the additions of the game. There's the base model that's like $60. They have like a extended version of the game that I think is like $79. Even though, like I said, I probably won't buy this game, but like the one thing that does make me want to buy it is like, if a game includes stupid shit with it, like toys and statues and shit, I totally want to buy it. And the problem with this one is, for $100, apparently you can get a life-size, and according to Polygon, wearable, armor helmet. Yeah, I'm like, boy, that's really fucking awesome. That reminds me of like the old Halo one that they did for Halo 3, like the collector's edition of Halo 3. It came with a Master Chief helmet. You couldn't wear that, unfortunately. But the Fallout one, like something like that, that's really interesting. I'm not sure. Probably a lot of people will buy it that love Fallout who might not love the game.
That's really cool on their part too, because they did something like that, and I think it was with Fallout 4 where they came out with the Pip-Boy, and you can put your phone in it, and that was really cool to be.
That was really, really cool. I still kind of regret. I think I had like 2 opportunities to buy one of those, and I did not. And I actually really regret that. I thought that Pip-Boy thing was really cool. Little things like that always sell me on video games. I mean, I'm such a sucker for like toys and shit like that.
That's kind of where Red Dead is going right now too, where you can do you can pay more, and then you get all the other stuff with it. And then I wonder if they're gonna let you do like a early access type thing with Red Dead though.
They might. I mean, I know, like we were saying, the beta will be October 23rd, so we'll get more of an idea from the overall community on that. And then the game launches on November 14th, so we'll definitely get a lot more when that finally comes out. Yeah. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how this like plays out and how the community, reacts to it. Because it is such a change, like we've talked about now. It's a very big departure for what Fallout has always been, and it'll be interesting to see where they go from here too for the next Fallout game. Is like what elements they always have done this, like what elements of Fallout 76 they'll fold into the next Fallout game. So it'll be really interesting. It's an exciting time for Bethesda. I think they have a lot of stuff on the roadmap for sure. They have the new Doom coming out. They have this. They have the new Skyrim coming out as well.
They have a new IP coming out too. It's
Space one, I think.
Yeah, that one I am extremely excited about. That one right there, if Fallout in space or Skyrim in space, I'm for it. I will pre-order it right now.
And stuff like that. And that's another thing where it's just one of those things where I feel like if you want to do something this drastic to a franchise, just make a new IP.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, like this space one, like before you announce that it's a single player, which I believe they did, before you announce that it's a single player, just say like, hey, it's this online multiplayer space thingy. That's cool. Like space online multiplayer makes sense. But you know, this Fallout 4 we won't know until it's actually out for what we actually fully think. We'll probably do another video after the beta. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes. It can go a couple different ways, and I'm really hoping it's positive for Bethesda because they're really, I think they're doing great overall, and like all their games are one of the few studios I feel like
who are really still putting effort.
Yeah, they're still putting a lot of effort into it. They're one of the few studios still making single player games, you know. So it'll be very interesting, and you know, we only have a couple more days for the beta, and yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. I'm hoping I'm wrong on a lot of this, but yeah. So I think that that's our thoughts for before we play Fallout 76 the beta. So yeah,
I'll be interested to go back and listen to these thoughts after we, kind of like we did with the Venom thing. I'll be interested to go back and see if we were right on or spot on. Or
I think that's what's cool about getting these kind of like before ideas of what we're thinking about before something comes out, and then what the realistic thing is afterwards. So we'll have another one of these. We'll do a couple more of these too. I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter, so I think we'll end it around here. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed some of this, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.